Hey, what's up guys, Sharp Tony here, and today I'm bringing you a guide on how to PvP in Anarchy Online. Just a few points I want to make before I break this down for you. Since there are so many different professions, setups, forks, friggin' tactics, a lot of points in this video are going to be really broad. Every profession plays so uniquely and differently that it would be near impossible to break everything down and make you all experts, but I'm going to do my best, obviously. Also, since there's so many different setups and tactics, just because I said something works or is a good idea, that doesn't mean that there aren't 6 or freaking 59, 69 different setups that are going to work even better. There's so many different things that will work. There's just too much to cover, but I'm going to do my best. Let's get started. Bang bang. Rule number 1. Learn your profession. This is probably one of the most big and important rules to me. If you think you're going to start a profession that you've never played before and power level it to 150 in a kite team on this nice kite hill here freaking thing and friggin' run PvP at title level 5, you're going to have about as much success as Funcom has with releasing any sort of updates. But I'm just playing with you, Funcom. What's up? You know I got mad love. Please don't take down my videos. But you need to know your tune and everything about how they play. Ask experts for help and freaking inspect other people's setups. And most of all, play your tune. Figure out how they work, the strengths, weaknesses, buffs, and all that good, gushy action, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're going to be freaking wasting your time. Rule number 2. Learn what level ranges are effective for your tune. Don't make a level 25 PvP nanotechnician. Actually, you know what? Frick it. Do it. I need a good laugh. And yes, this is level 30. Don't question what I do. But not all tunes are going to be effective at every level range, believe it or not. Some are going to be nearly impossible to play. For example, a shade before level 200 is going to be mostly friggin' useless with a few exceptions. I've seen a good few shades run around, do their thing, you know what I'm saying? Generally, martial artists, shades, nanotechnicians, doctors, bureaucrats, and engineers don't make ideal lower level twinks. And I'm talking like pre-150. Because nanotechnicians and doctors, and obviously martial artists, could be good at 150, but once you start getting lower than that, you're kind of cutting effectiveness. I mean, there's always exceptions to what I just said. Keep that in mind, because I'm freaking not going to keep repeating the same thing. Rule number 3. Determine your setup. Each profession usually has a few setups that can be pretty effective. For instance, enforcers can thrive in both offensive and defensive setups. Here's an example of my 150 defensive geared enforcer. Thanks to all this add-all def we get from the combined mercenaries, as long as the max health and body development, and the defense, and also as well as the offense from the imbued global clarities. We got these sandy pieces of goo that are going to help with evades here. Just taking more looks around. We have more body development here. A Noticom, which is not very common of an enforcer, but when we get all these evades here, and we stack these with evades through here, and we have the defense HUD from the freaking battle station thing, and there are other obviously defensive items, but all this added up with just massive HP and massive defense actually makes for a really solid enforcer. Other professions, maybe like the fixer, might prefer a lower HP and a high evade setup with also a really high attack rating. The idea behind the lower HP setup is that it's easier to cover HP from an alpha and heal back to full, whereas doctors want a massive HP setup to avoid being alphaed and then outlast their opponent. You won't be alphaing much as a doctor. Your alpha is going to be your opening attack pretty much. A lot of motherfathers like to create setups with massive alphas that will pretty much decimate someone as soon as the duel starts and cripple them from the beginning. The only downside to that kind of setup is that often it leaves a lack of damage in between the alpha due to downtime of specials and perks. Alright, so let's take a look at my engineer. He relies on a big alpha, but between his perks and the specials being ready, his only real damage comes from like a once in a while hit with the AMAP and also from an 11-second aim shot. So let's test out an alpha right here on my shade and let's see how well we do. We actually could have killed him. But in between, I'm going to show you how slow my actual is now. See, as you can see here, I'm not really damaging at all, which is the downside to a big alpha, but I do have the 11-second aim shot to kind of cover up for that. Rule number 4. Farm, and, what else? Oh yeah, farm. Twinking is friggin' expensive. To stay competitive, most toons are going to need AI armor, some sort of combined, whether it's mercenaries, scouts, commandos like I have here, something like that. And that ish is friggin' insanely expensive. Like, we're talking, at endgame, it's like 1.3 billion a piece for sharpshooters and commandos. But I think that price is going to drop soon, because the market's just kind of crappy right now. And depending on your level range, you could be looking at spending billions to stay in that action. Subpar and cheap setups rarely stay competitive at high levels. It also helps to know your gear, because there's some solid stuff you can do if you just farm and save money. I have no clue why I just stopped talking there, but you're going to deal with it. If you're looking for a solid but less expensive twink, soldiers from level 60 up tend to be pretty inexpensive. Comparatively, at least. Let's pop over to my soldier. Soldier OFAB is really friggin' good. It'll give you really nice HP and good attack rating from all the mods that are on the armor. Generally, this will be good for assault rifle, not so much for machine gun, submachine gun, or pistol. This is pretty much an assault rifle kind of thing. But the only downside to an OFAB setup is you can't really run a defensive setup at all, which is generally fine for a soldier. You see very few defensive soldiers running around these days. The last one I remember seeing was Marine Sold, who was, I think, 220, and he did the whole defensive thing pretty well, I will definitely say. I like to use auto.org to create most of my setups before I actually twink the toon, so I can figure out exactly what items I need and estimate myself a price point, so I'll know exactly what I need to farm and how much, and it gives me a really good, what's the word for it? I don't know. Jump start on really what I need to do and what I need to farm. They also have a perk planner on there. They have an equipment configuration. It's great. It really helps when you're trying to start. Rule number 5, know your items. Pretty much the more you know, the better, as with literally like everything, except for molestation. I don't think that helps much. But learn all your twinking items, whether you have to ask around, you got to search databases. Listen, a lot of times what you can do, how much you can twink, will be determined on your knowledge of items, and a lot of times for paid players, actually not a lot of times, for paid players, make sure your research and AI levels are close to max if they're not freaking already maxed. It's really funny seeing like level 150 dudes running around with AI 2 and literally no research done in the battle stations. It's entertaining to watch, to say the least, so proceed to do this if you enjoy my laughter, because I enjoy my laughter. And don't forget about the Gauntlet buff, which adds 10 to all your abilities at any level, as well as some HP and some nano, but you probably won't need that. And to my lowbie friends who's trying to twink the lower level dudes, try and schedule your twinking around the Gauntlet buff. Let's give you a quick example of what I mean by schedule around the Gauntlet buff. This guy's level 8. He wasn't twinked as hard as I could because I didn't have... Let's take a look at this item. We have what's known as Shadowlands jewelry. A lot of it adds to your base abilities, and it is so helpful and useful. If I had a couple more, or if I had one more of these, and I could have bumped my quality level of my implants up so much higher, but I do have 75s on as a level 8, which is pretty good, but you could definitely do higher. So keep in mind, the more you twink, the harder you twink, obviously the better you're going to be. Rule number 6. Friggin' practice, son. There's really no other way to learn to PvP other than by, like most things, actually just freaking doing it. A lot of times it becomes a very quick and stressful situation between trying to fend off alphas, trying to freaking kick somebody in the teeth. It's not easy. It is not easy, especially for somebody just getting into it. It becomes very quick and very stressful. Like when you lost your virginity to your cousin. You learn a lot of different tactics and when to fire your perks and how to counter certain professions. All that kind of ish. But it does take time and you need to practice. Sometimes all you need is a punching bag like I have here, and it helps out a lot. Proper timing of perks, especially perks like Bio Cocoon and Dance of Fools, are essential to winning your duels. Honestly, it gets to be a mind game at points. You kind of got to predict what your opponent's going to do and try to blast your alpha when his evades are down or dodge his when he's ready to freaking kill you. It's some tricky ish and it never gets easy, but it's fun as all crap, and you got to keep practicing to keep it fresh. Alright, so hopefully I covered everything you guys wanted to hear, everything you wanted to see. If you do want to see actual other duels, I have so many up on this channel. If you need to just see how a certain profession works, I have a lot of duels, so check those out. I didn't really want to include those in this video because I felt like it would be a little excessive and a little silly. So hopefully you guys can go out and make a twink now. Just don't make a 220 Aatrox or Nanomage Fixer or freaking a 220 Adventurer of any breed, because I will lose absolutely all respect for you, and it is so played out to the point where it takes no skill. So do something for me that takes skill. If you guys got any questions, you could ask in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you. And like I said, if you want to see some actual PvP videos, go check out my other ish. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate it.